Hello gamers, February marks my 1-year anniversary, I guess, of uploading videos to my YouTube channel. I can't believe a year's gone by already, but I thought I'd take the opportunity this week to do something a little different and do a top 10 video, something I've wanted to do for a while, for the NES. My top 10 NES games, again, like a lot of collectors, and the reason I love these older games, it's the nostalgia. It's the memories you had growing up, and all the fun you had with friends and family playing these games. It kind of brings you back. So this top 10 list isn't like the definitive top 10 NES games of all time. This is my top 10 list. These are the games I love and the reason that I collect for the NES. So with that in mind, definitely leave your comments below as to what your top 10 games are. And without further ado, let's get started. So at number 10 on my list is Excite Bike, a very early release, a black box game for the NES that I think is often grossly overlooked. I mean, the gameplay, sure, it's simple, but it's perfect for the NES. It's pick up and play, quick and easy action, and great controls. It's just a great game to pop in and spend 30 minutes on when you've got a time here or there. At number 9 is yet another racing game, RC Pro-Am. This is a game that I've always really loved. This was a rental for me as a kid. I'd always pick up and rent it time and time again. Such great arcade racing controls. You've got power-ups, you've got other racers to contend with, missiles, bombs, engine upgrades. It's just a great game and perfect arcade fun. So Ghosts and Goblins is one of the earlier NES releases that was just absolutely brutal in difficulty. Definitely coins the phrase NES hard. And you will be out to save your girlfriend battling hordes of the undead in this game. And I never got very far in this as a kid, but it definitely is one of those games that I always went back to and I still love to go back to today. So the Turtles were huge in the late 80s, early 90s, and this is the third game to the NES to feature the Ninja Turtles, and why I love this one so much is because it's a great action arcade beat-em-up, two-player co-op, cannot be beat, and this one is original. The story is all original to the NES, so it's a little bit more refreshing to me than the arcade port. Paperboy is, of course, an arcade port, but the NES version has always been my favorite, probably because it was my first introduction to the game. And there's just something great about this. It's really, not the most impressive looking NES game, and the enemies are pretty cheap, but it's just a blast. We sunk a lot of hours into this when I was growing up with friends and family, and those bonus stages were always a highlight for me, and I still love going back and playing through this every now and then. Bucky O'Hare is the only game on this list that doesn't make it based on nostalgia. This isn't a game I ever played as a kid or even knew about. This is something I picked up later as a collector, and I gotta say it's a fantastic game. It's got one of the best soundtracks on the NES, tight controls, multiple characters, gorgeous graphics. It was a later NES release, but it's definitely worth tracking down if you can get your hands on it. I highly recommend everyone having it in their collection. Rescue Rangers was, of course, another childhood favorite cartoon of mine, and when it got an NES game, I was super excited to play it. This was one that my cousin and I would rent a lot, actually, and we would just play through it. It's not a very difficult game, but it is an excellent co-op game, and it stays pretty true to the source material. You can't go wrong. So Bubble Bobble is an action platformer that has you taking the reins of these little dinosaurs that blow bubbles to capture enemies in them on the screen. You pop the bubble to clear the screen, and you rinse and repeat over dozens of stages. In my opinion, this is probably one of the greatest co-op games of all time. I can't even begin to guess as to how many hours I sunk into this game with friends as a kid. It's my go-to co-op game when I'm playing NES. Can't recommend this one enough. The Legend of Zelda takes number 2 on my list. It's such a great game. Iconic soundtrack. It's an early game, so the visuals aren't that impressive, but growing up on the NES, this game felt just like such a huge adventure with so many screens to clear, hidden secrets. I just remember staring at that printed map that came with it for hours, marking secrets and trying to plot out my next destination. So no surprises here. That commercial pretty much sums it up. Mario was the biggest thing as far as video games were concerned when Mario Bros. 3 came out. This game, I think, beat everyone's expectations. Better visuals, better sound, huge overworld, mini games with bonus power-ups, new power-ups. It was just a perfect sequel, providing countless hours of fun. It's one I still love to go back to this day, and really, probably one of the best Mario games of all time. So yeah, Mario Bros. 3, as far as I'm concerned, probably top 5 greatest games of all time. It just hit the 25-year anniversary mark, so that game has been out for 25 years, and it's still just as fun today as it was back then. And over the multiple re-releases, on Game Boy Advance, the All-Stars Pack, and Virtual Console, it's a game I've bought and played through countless times on many systems, and it's just a classic. So that's all for this week, guys. If you haven't checked out any other videos on my channel, go ahead and check it out. Maybe subscribe if you want to. Like, comment. I always appreciate that. Let me know below what are your top 10 NES games. Thanks for watching.